10 years ago, Elena buried her husband. Tonight she'll bury her daughter's secrets. Hey, don't forget to like, please subscribe for more shocking crime stories, and hit the bell icon. The darkest truth are yet to come. The kitchen was a tomb at 2 a.m. The kind of quiet that presses against your chest. Elena sat at the oak table, her fingers tracing the rim of a chipped coffee mug, the one her husband David used every morning before cancer stole him. The house in Willow Creek, Ohio was too big now, too empty, its creaks and groans a cruel reminder of the life they'd lost. She was 38, but grief had carved lines into her face that made her look older, her brown eyes dulled by endless nights of worry. In her lap, her daughter Mia's phone buzzed again, a faint glow cutting through the dark. Elena stared at it, her pulse quickening. She hadn't unlocked it yet. She wasn't sure she wanted to. What was Mia hiding? 10 years had passed since David's funeral, a blur of hospital bills, casseroles from neighbors, and Mia's small hand clutching hers as they lowered his casket. Mia was 6 then, all pigtails and questions Elena couldn't answer. Why did Daddy leave? She'd whisper, and Elena would choke back tears, promising they'd be okay. But okay was a lie. Elena worked double shifts at the diner, her hands raw from scrubbing counters, her heart raw from pretending she could raise Mia alone. Mia, now 16, wasn't the same girl anymore. The bubbly kid who danced to David's old vinyl records had vanished, replaced by a quiet, moody teenager who locked herself in her room, her world reduced to the glow of her phone screen. Elena tried to bridge the gap. She'd leave notes on Mia's pillow. Love you, kiddo, let's talk. But they went unanswered. The house, once warm with David's laughter, felt like a stranger's now. Framed photos of him lined the mantel, his smile frozen in time, watching the growing distance between mother and daughter. Elena told herself it was just teenage rebellion, just grief working its way out. But deep down, she knew it was more. Mia was slipping away and Elena was too tired to chase her. 3 years ago, hope flickered back into Elena's life. She met Mark at a church potluck, an unassuming widower with a gentle voice and a story not unlike hers. His wife had died in a car accident, leaving him to raise 2 boys, Caleb, now 19, and Ethan, 17. Mark wasn't charming or flashy, but he listened, really listened, when Elena talked about David, about the weight of raising Mia alone. Their first coffee date turned into late-night talks, then dinners where they laughed like they hadn't in years. Mark's kindness was a lifeline, pulling Elena from the quicksand of her grief. After a year, they married in a quiet courthouse ceremony. Mia in a yellow sundress, Caleb and Ethan in stiff-collared shirts, all of them trying to believe in second chances. They moved into Mark's house on the edge of Willow Creek, a sprawling 2-story with a wraparound porch and a backyard that caught the sunset just right. At first, it felt like a fresh start. The kitchen buzzed with chatter over breakfast, Caleb flipping pancakes, Ethan teasing Mia about her taste in music. Mia's laughter, rare and precious, echoed through the halls. Elena let herself breathe, let herself believe they'd outrun the past. Mark was patient, helping with Mia's homework, fixing the leaky sink, filling the house with a warmth Elena thought she'd never feel again. Caleb, the responsible one, took odd jobs to help with bills. Ethan, wiry and quick-witted, bonded with Mia over their shared love of true crime podcasts and bad sci-fi movies. But grief doesn't let go so easily. Mia's laughter faded as the months passed. She'd disappear into her room, earbuds in, her phone a constant companion. Elena noticed the late-night texts, the way Mia's eyes darted when asked about her day. She'd catch her sneaking out to the garage, claiming she needed fresh air. Elena wanted to press to demand answers, but exhaustion always won. She'd collapse into bed after her shift, telling herself Mia was just being a teenager. Kids push boundaries, right? She didn't see the signs, not yet. One night, Elena woke to a faint hum from Mia's room. It was past midnight, the house dark, except for a sliver of light under Mia's door. She crept closer, her bare feet cold, on the hardwood. The hum was Mia's phone vibrating on her nightstand. Elena hesitated, her hand hovering over the knob. She hadn't snooped before. It felt like a betrayal. But the notifications kept coming, one after another, names she didn't recognize. Why's her phone blowing up at this hour? Her stomach twisted. She grabbed the phone, its screen locked with a passcode she didn't know. The notifications vanished before she could read them, leaving only a cryptic 3 new messages alert. Elena stood frozen, the phone heavy in her hand. What was Mia hiding? She didn't sleep that night. By morning, Mia was already up, grabbing her backpack and muttering about school. You okay, kiddo? Elena asked, her voice tight. Mia shrugged, avoiding her eyes. Yeah, Mom, just tired. She was out the door before Elena could push further. At the diner, Elena's mind churned. She overpoured coffee, dropped a plate, her thoughts stuck on that phone. Was Mia in trouble? Drugs? A bad crowd? She'd heard stories at the diner, teens sexting, getting blackmailed, worse. Willow Creek was small, but small towns had dark corners too. The next week, tension crept into the house like a fog. Mia and Ethan were inseparable, always whispering, always together. Elena caught them in the garage one evening, their laughter sharp and nervous. Ethan's laptop was open on a workbench, its screen glowing with something Elena couldn't quite see. What's so funny? She asked, stepping closer. Ethan slammed the laptop shut, his face flushing. Just a dumb video, he mumbled, shoving it into his bag. Mia's smile faltered, her eyes flicking to Ethan. Yeah, nothing big, she said too quickly. Elena's chest tightened. Why were they acting so cagey? She tried to shake it off. Ethan was a good kid, wasn't he? He'd helped Mia with algebra, stayed up late teaching her how to change a tire. They were close, like siblings should be. But the way their eyes locked, the way their voices dropped when Elena entered the room, it gnawed at her. She started watching them closer, noticing the late-night footsteps, the muffled giggles from the basement. Mark brushed it off when she mentioned it. They're teenagers, Elena. They're just bonding. But Elena wasn't so sure. Rumors started circling Willow Creek. The diner was a gossip hub, and Elena overheard whispers about those kids on the edge of town. A neighbor claimed she'd seen Mia sneaking out past midnight. Another mentioned Ethan hanging with a rough crowd at the gas station. Elena's paranoia grew, her mind spinning with worst-case scenarios. She remembered Mia's obsession with social media, the hours spent scrolling, seeking likes and comments to fill the void David left. Elena had ignored it, too drained to set boundaries. Now, she wondered if that was her first mistake. One evening, after another silent dinner, Elena found Mia's phone on the couch, its screen still lit. Her hands trembled as she picked it up. This was her chance. She typed David's birthday, Mia's usual passcode, but it failed. She tried Mia's birthday, then their old house number. Nothing. The lock screen taunted her, a photo of Mia and Ethan grinning at the county fair. Then she noticed it, a folder labeled Us, tucked in a corner of the app grid secured with its own passcode. Us? Who's us? Her heart pounded. She typed random numbers, her fingers clumsy, but the folder stayed locked. A noise from the theater. Stairs made her jump, Mia descending in her pajamas. Mom, what the hell? Mia snatched the phone, her face pale. Why are you snooping? I'm worried about you, Elena snapped, her voice sharper than intended. You're sneaking around, hiding things. What's going on, Mia? Mia's eyes flashed with defiance. Nothing's going on. God, can't you just trust me? She stormed upstairs, slamming her door. Elena stood frozen, the air heavy with unspoken questions. She sank onto the couch, clutching a framed photo of David from the coffee table. His eyes seemed to judge her, to ask where she'd gone wrong. What have you done, Mia? She whispered, her voice breaking. The house was silent, but the truth was out there, waiting to unravel everything she'd fought to rebuild. She thought she knew her daughter, but the truth was worse than she could imagine. Elena's hands shook as she held Mia's phone, the screen's glow casting shadows across her bedroom. It was 3 a.m., the house in Willow Creek, Ohio, swallowed by silence. She'd cracked the passcode. David's birthday, after all. Her heart sinking as she realized Mia hadn't changed it since she was a little girl. The locked folder labeled Us stared back at her, now open. One video file, no title, just a timestamp from 2 weeks ago. Elena's thumb hovered over the play button, her breath shallow. She shouldn't be doing this. She should trust Mia. But the fight from last week, Mia's slammed door, her defiant eyes, it all screamed something was wrong. She pressed play. The screen flickered, showing a grainy image of Mia and Ethan in the garage, their faces too close, their laughter too intimate. The video cut off after 10 seconds, leaving Elena's stomach churning. What the hell was that? Guilt clawed at her as she shoved the phone under her pillow. She'd crossed a line, betrayed Mia's trust, but the image burned in her mind. Mia's hand on Ethan's arm, the way they leaned into each other. Elena hadn't slept since their fight, replaying Mia's words. Can't you just trust me? She wanted to, God, she did, but trust was a luxury she couldn't afford anymore. Mia was slipping further away, and Elena was drowning in the fear of losing her, just like she'd lost David. She needed answers. By dawn, she made a decision. While Mia was at school, Elena slipped into her room, the air thick with the scent of Mia's vanilla body spray. She rifled through drawers under the bed, her hands trembling with every creak of the floorboards. In a shoebox beneath a pile of hoodies, she found it. A USB drive labeled Private in Mia's loopy handwriting. Her pulse roared. Did she dare look? She didn't, not yet. She stuffed the USB in her pocket and went to work, the diner's clatter barely drowning out her thoughts. Every customer's glance felt like judgment, every whisper a jab at her parenting. Willow Creek was a small town, and secrets didn't stay buried long. Elena's mind spiraled, imagining Mia caught up in something dangerous, sexting, drugs, or worse. She remembered the late nights Mia spent online, chasing likes on Instagram, her eyes hollow from seeking validation in strangers' comments. Elena had let it slide, too exhausted to fight after David's death. Now she cursed herself for it. At home, she watched Mia and Ethan closer. They were too comfortable, their glances lingering, their jokes carrying an edge she couldn't ignore. Even Caleb, the quiet older stepbrother, seemed to notice, his eyes narrowing when Mia and Ethan giggled in the living room. That night, Elena plugged the USB into her laptop, her bedroom door locked. The screen lit up with the same grainy video, from Mia's phone but longer this time. Mia and Ethan sat on an old couch in the garage, their voices low, their bodies too close. The camera wobbled like someone had set it up in a hurry. Ethan's hand brushed Mia's thigh and she didn't pull away. The video stopped abruptly, no sound, no context, just enough to make Elena's skin crawl. Her breath hitched. Were they just messing around, or was it something more? She slammed the laptop shut, her heart hammering. There had to be more to this. There had to be an explanation. But what if there wasn't? She tried talking to Mark, cornering him in the kitchen. After dinner. Something's off with Mia and Ethan, she said, her voice low. They're too close, Mark. I found a video. Mark's face tightened, but he shook his head. They're kids, Elena. They're bonding. You're reading too much into it. His dismissal stung, a crack in the trust they'd built. Elena wanted to scream that this wasn't normal, that she knew her daughter, but doubt crept in. Was she overreacting? Mark's grief had shaped him too. Losing his wife had made him overly forgiving, desperate to keep his boys close. Their argument ended in silence, Mark retreating to the garage, Elena alone with her fears. The next day, Caleb pulled her aside while Mia and Ethan were at school. His voice was low, his eyes darting to the stairs. I've seen something, Elena. Between Mia and Ethan. It's not right. Her stomach dropped. What did you see? She pressed, but Caleb hesitated, his jaw tight. I'm not sure, yet I need to be certain. Just check the basement. He walked away, leaving her frozen in the hallway. Check the basement? What the hell did that mean? Her mind raced. picturing hidden cameras, secret meetups, things she couldn't bring herself to name. Caleb's warning was a spark, igniting her paranoia into a full blaze. That night, while Mark worked late and the kids were out, Elena crept into the basement. The air was damp, the space cluttered with old furniture and Ethan's camping gear. She moved quietly, her flashlight beam cutting through the dark. Under a tarp, she found a metal lockbox, its padlock rusted but intact. Her hands shook as she pried it open with a screwdriver, the hinges squealing. Inside were 3 USB drives, one labeled Us 2 in the same loopy handwriting. Her throat tightened. She grabbed the USBs, shoving them into her pocket, too terrified to watch them here. Upstairs, she locked her bedroom door, her breath ragged. She wanted to believe this was a mistake, that Mia and Ethan were just kids being stupid. But the weight of the USBs in her hand felt like a death sentence. Willow Creek's gossip grew louder. At the diner, Elena overheard a customer whisper about that girl sneaking around with her stepbrother. Another claimed Mia had been seen at the park with Ethan, their heads bent too close. Elena's cheeks burned with shame, though she hadn't done anything wrong. She stopped going to church, avoiding the pitying stares. Mia noticed the shift, her eyes narrowing when Elena asked about her day. "Why do you care now?" Mia snapped one morning, slamming her cereal bowl down. The defiance cut deep, a reminder of how far they'd drifted. Elena wanted to grab her, shake her, beg her to come back, but the words wouldn't come. At a family dinner, the tension was suffocating. Mark tried to lighten the mood, joking about Caleb's new job at the hardware store, but Mia and Ethan barely looked up from their plates. Caleb watched them, his fork paused midair. Then Mia's phone buzzed, a single chime that silenced the table. She glanced at it, her face draining of color. Elena caught the screen's glow, a message from an unknown number. "Everyone will know soon." Mia's fork clattered to her plate, and she bolted from the table, her chair scraping the floor. Ethan followed, mumbling an excuse about homework. Elena's eyes locked on the empty doorway, her hand closing around the USB in her pocket. Who was texting her? "Know what?" Mark sighed, clearing the plates. "She's just stressed, Elena. School's tough." But his voice lacked conviction. Caleb stayed silent, his gaze heavy. Elena excused herself, her legs unsteady as she climbed the stairs. In her room, she locked the door, the USB burning a hole in her palm. She heard Mia's muffled sobs through the wall, each one a knife to her heart. She wanted to go to her, to hold her like she did when Mia was little, but the truth was a wall between them now. Elena sank onto her bed, the USB glinting in the lamplight. "I can't lose you too," she whispered, her voice cracking. She plugged the USB into her laptop, her finger trembling over the mouse. The screen flickered to life, and with it, the unraveling of everything she'd fought to hold. Together, the screen showed her daughter's betrayal. But the real truth would break her forever. Elena's bedroom was a prison, the laptop's glow her only light. The USB drive labeled Us 2 had loaded, and the video played in agonizing clarity. Mia and Ethan in the basement, their clothes discarded, their faces twisted with a mix of shame and desperation. The camera angle was steady, deliberate, not the shaky mess of the earlier clips. Someone had set it up. Elena's stomach lurched, her hands gripping the laptop so hard the plastic creaked. This wasn't a mistake. This was a secret they'd kept, a wound they'd carved into the family's heart. She paused the video, Mia's frozen face staring back, her eyes hollow like David's in his final days. Elena's rage simmered, but it was the heartbreak that choked her. How had it come to this? She stormed downstairs, the USB clutched in her fist. Caleb was in the kitchen eating cereal like nothing was wrong. "You knew," Elena hissed, slamming the USB on the counter. Caleb's spoon froze midair, his eyes widening. "Knew what?" he mumbled, but his voice cracked. Elena leaned closer, her voice low and venomous. "Don't lie to me. You filmed them, didn't you?" Caleb's face paled, and he pushed the bowl away. I didn't mean for it to go this far." he stammered. "I saw them sneaking around acting weird. I was jealous, okay? Ethan's my brother, but he got so close to her and I just wanted to prove I wasn't crazy." His words spilled out, a confession born of grief and resentment. He'd lost his mom, felt pushed out by Mia's arrival, and the camera was his way to reclaim control. Elena's vision blurred with tears. "You destroyed us," she whispered. The kitchen door creaked and Mia stepped in, her backpack slung over one shoulder. Her eyes flicked to the laptop still open on the counter, the paused video glaring like a spotlight. She froze, a scream tearing from her throat. "Mom, no!" She lunged for the laptop, but Elena grabbed her arm. "Explain this, Mia, now!" Mia's face crumpled, tears streaming down her cheeks. "It wasn't supposed to be like this," she sobbed. "I was so lonely, Mom. After Dad, I didn't know how to feel anything. Ethan, he got it. He was hurting too. We needed to feel something." Her words were a knife, slicing through Elena's rage to the raw grief beneath. Mia hadn't wanted this. She'd been drowning, just like Elena. But the truth didn't erase the betrayal. Mark came home to chaos, his face falling as Elena showed him the video. "How did we miss this?" he whispered, his voice breaking. He turned to Elena, his eyes accusing. "You were supposed to watch her." The words stung, a crack in their fragile bond. Elena wanted to scream that she'd been drowning too, working herself to death to keep them afloat. But the fight drained out of her, replaced by a hollow ache. Willow Creek's gossip erupted the next day. Caleb, in a fit of panic, had shared the videos with a friend, swearing them to secrecy. The friend wasn't so loyal. By morning, 3 clips were online, spreading like wildfire across social media. Neighbors stared as Elena walked to the diner, their whispers cutting deeper than any knife. "That poor girl," they'd say, but their eyes judged Mia, judged Elena. Mia stopped going to school, her bedroom a fortress of silence. Elena's world was unraveling, and she couldn't stop it. Late one night, she found Mia's diary under her pillow, its pages filled with jagged handwriting. "I hate myself," Mia wrote. "I ruined everything. Ethan didn't force me. We were both lost. But now everyone knows, and I can't live with it." The final entry was a note. "I'm sorry, Mom, I ruined us." Elena's heart stopped. She tore through the house calling Mia's name. Her room was empty, her phone gone. Panic clawed at her chest. Where was Mia? She grabbed her keys, the diary still in her hand, and drove through Willow Creek's dark streets, her mind racing. She knew where Mia would go. David's old fishing spot by the river where they'd scattered his ashes. The riverbank was shrouded in mist, the water black under the moon. Mia sat on a fallen log, her knees drawn up, a bottle of pills in her shaking hand. Elena's breath caught, her voice trembling. "Mia, please, don't." Mia looked up, her face streaked with tears. "I can't fix this, Mom. Everyone hates me, I see it in their eyes." Elena knelt beside her, the diary falling to the ground. "I don't hate you," she whispered, her voice cracking. "I failed you, kiddo. I was so lost without Dad. I didn't see you slipping away." Mia sobbed, the pills slipping from her hand. "We didn't mean to hurt anyone," she said. "It was stupid, desperate. But it felt like we weren't alone for once." Elena pulled her close, their tears mixing, but the moment was fleeting. Rage surged back, a tidal wave she couldn't stop. Caleb and Ethan had pushed Mia to this edge, and they weren't here to face it. Elena drove Mia home, her mind a storm. She tucked Mia into bed, promising they'd fix this, but her heart was elsewhere. Caleb and Ethan were in the basement, playing video games like nothing had happened. Elena's vision narrowed, the diary's words echoing. "I ruined us." She grabbed a kitchen knife, its blade glinting under the fluorescent light. Downstairs, she faced them, her voice a low growl. "You broke her," she said, the knife trembling in her hand. Caleb stood, hands raised. "Elena, I'm sorry, I didn't mean—" But her scream cut him off, raw and primal. She lunged, the knife slicing Caleb's chest. He gasped, collapsing, blood pooling on the concrete. Ethan shouted, rushing to stop her. But Elena turned, her grief a weapon. The knife struck again, Ethan stumbling back, his eyes wide with shock. The basement was a blur of blood and screams. Elena's world reduced to the pain she'd carried too long. Sirens wailed in the distance as Elena staggered to the riverbank. Mia unconscious beside her, the pill bottle empty. Blood coated Elena's. Hands, Caleb's and Ethan's faces burned into her mind. She'd called 911 herself, her voice hollow. I killed them. My kids. Come now. She sat on the damp grass, rocking back and forth, whispering, I'm sorry, as flashlights pierced the dark. Officers shouted, their guns drawn, but Elena didn't move. The cuffs were cold on her wrists, the cruiser's door slamming shut, like a coffin lid. She'd lost everything, and the truth was her only witness. The aftermath was a slow bleed. Caleb was dead, his body cold by the time paramedics arrived. Ethan clung to life in the ICU, his future uncertain. Mia survived, saved by the ambulance, but her eyes were empty, her spirit broken. In court, Elena confessed, her voice steady as she recounted the grief that consumed her. I was supposed to protect her, she said, tears falling. But loneliness ate us alive. The judge sentenced her to life without parole, his voice a distant echo. Mark sat in the back, his face a mask of devastation. He'd tried to hold the family together, but grief had torn it apart. He left Willow Creek, the house sold, the memories too heavy to carry. Willow Creek moved on, new families filling the streets, the scandal fading into whispers. But for Elena, the story never ended. In her cell, she traced Mia's name on the concrete wall, her whispered apologies a nightly ritual. Mia lived with a distant aunt, her diary locked away, her voice silenced by shame. The videos lingered, online, a ghost that haunted her every step. And Ethan, if he survived, would carry scars no one could see. Their tragedy wasn't born in a single moment of rage, but in years of silent wounds, grief carving hollows no love could fill. Loneliness had been their true killer, twisting their need for connection into a noose. In the end, there were no villains, only victims, their regrets echoing in a town that had already forgotten them. Well, have you ever heard of a case like this? Comment your thoughts. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.